And welcome to Soups and Sabers. I am Chris. With me to talk absolutely everything Absolute Batman number 6 is Ron. How you doing today, Ron?
I'm doing good, man. Anytime you and I are at the helm, things tend to get out of control, and I expect today to be no different. So I'm strapped in and I'm ready to go here.
I love the confidence. Also joining us is DC Unlimited's Chris Evans. How you doing, Chris?
Absolutely well. How are you doing?
Let's get
I'm
all
doing
these out of the
great.
way now. We'll get
I'm
them all
doing
out of
great.
the
I
I
I
think we
built
just do
it
a
into
show
the
of
intro.
puns.
Yeah. I mean, it is a Batman thing. It's very on brand. Maybe like 40 or 50 years ago on brand, but still, you know.
I don't mind it.
Absolutely. All right.
Cool, copious amounts of puns, Batman. All right. We're here, of course, to talk about Absolute Batman. And me and Ron have kind of dived into issues, I think 1 through 4, but we're just going to say it was 1 through 5 for the sake of the show. And we're going to ask Chris Evans here. Chris, what's your overall, before we get to issue 6, what are your overall general thoughts about Absolute Batman and how we've got here?
So, fair warning before we even start. I love this book, so I'm going to gush about it a lot. I love the Absolute Batman story that we've gotten so far. I think it's unique enough to where it stands out. It's not just, oh, here's a Batman title where you have Batman and he's a little less rich and Gordon's not as smart. And that's your Elseworld take. This is something very unique and it stands out. And I think it hits. I like all the changes they've made, the little tweaks to things. I love the new origin. I thought that was really cool. I am a big fan of him knowing the Rogues Gallery. Like his best buddies are some of his most ruthless enemies in other continuities. That's cool. I like the look of most things. I love the Batmobile, but I don't understand how it works. But I just like the way it looks.
Same.
I have no
Very
idea
much
how
the
that thing
same.
works. It even works underwater, apparently. It's a James Bond vehicle. The violence is amazing. Didn't expect that. It is violent. He is violent. I don't really have any complaints on it. I feel like they have really done a good job of setting the scene with this first arc. And as a fan, I think that's all you can ask for. Because you look at something like Batman Earth 1, which I adore as well, but it goes off a cliff after the first volume, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this, it stays pretty steady for the entirety of this first arc. So I'm a big fan of it. I'm all in, as they say.
Nice.
Holy
I will
amount of
say-
puns, Batman.
I will say too, I definitely felt that when you're talking about the new origin.
Mm-hmm.
Just not having to see those beads falling on the ground again and
No
walking
more
down
pearls.
the alley. It's just, God, that alone in itself was enough to sell me on this. And
Yeah.
Refreshing.
it's really, we see the same thing happening across the aisle with Marvel right now with all the Ultimate Universe type stuff. It's like people, it's very much indicative that people were just ready for something new. You can still have these characters and still have them hit the same way while fundamentally shifting some things just to give it a fresh feel. So it's not like the point you mentioned, Chris. It's an Elseworlds project, but it's really just because Bruce isn't quite as rich and, Alfred's a little more rigid. Like this thing
Maybe
changes
he's younger,
back.
maybe he's older.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this changes so much of Batman, like at its core, like you mentioned with the villains and things like that. But the soul of Batman is still there. And as long as the soul of the character is still there, like bring on changes, show us things that are going to surprise us and not feel like we're just reading a different variation of the same story for the 40th time.
Exactly.
And the sales have indicated it too. All the all-in run and all of the ultimate stuff. You look at any list of comic sales right now; those are all right at the top. So it's like you said, a welcome change for all comic readers in both companies, really.
I think also speaking to both the Ultimate line and the Absolute line, the continuity becomes so messy.
Yes,
It's
they have.
hard to even tell somebody, okay, this is where you start. Or like myself, I read these books, I get confused which book is which at this point. because they just bleed together. Whereas this one, I know what this one is. It's different.
And there's no going in between titles. There's no like Action Comics and then no, this one's still on Superman and then it goes back to Action
Mhm.
or something like that. There's no convolution there. I loved Absolute Batman for one simple reason. It's bringing me back to the core elements of Batman that I fell in love with in the first place. I think it shows you how unimportant the origin story is to the essence of a character that you know like the back of your hand. Like I feel like the fact of the matter is I feel like I'm playing the Arkham games with some of this violence. It's like it's and people know the Arkham games are like my real root with so much of the Batman stuff. So I would when we'll get to it, but when he puts the bat cowl through Black Mask with the horns, the
Mhm.
ears, holy I said horns, I'm just recording from Daredevil. The ears
Little
and the
pal.
yeah. Dude, that was an incredible moment. I literally was like, that is Batman's mic drop moment.
Mhm.
It was like, oh, I was pumped up about that. So I'm with you guys. I'm loving. I don't love the design. I don't think I ever will.
Mm.
But that's literally the only thing I don't really love about it.
I've
Yeah.
come around on the design because
Me
when
too.
they first showed up, I was like, I don't like this at all. And then when they showed us the cape, I was like, oh, I don't like this either. But then for me, once I see it in context, I'm, oh, okay, that's why this is
Yes.
neat. Batman looks like he's the size of a building. I get it now.
Yeah.
It
And a
looks
lot of
better in the comic than the cover.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, Chris. It's a lot less noticeable when you're actually reading it on the panel.
Yeah.
Whereas
it
when
is.
you see it on the cover and like 80% of the surface area of the cover is his body, it's like, whoa, that's kind of a
And
lot.
not even the full body, just like half of his body takes
Yeah.
up so much real estate on a cover. It's like,
Mhm.
whoa, what are we looking at here?
Yeah. What's
100%.
interesting about that is his face as a kid and his face as an adult are so similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that actually adds a bit of, to me, connection to the thread of the past storyline and the present storyline. I don't know if that's intentional, but it's definitely hitting for me, and I've really enjoyed it. Issue 6 was I believe the last part of the first arc of
Mhm.
this
The zoo.
the zoo, yeah, and I thought that this was a really good, strong arc. I thought, you know, it was emotional in all the right moments. It had so much action that you forgot about it. I think the Alfred stuff, and we got a little Julia Pennyworth in here today. So I think they're really tying things together very well. What did you guys think about this issue?
I also enjoyed it a lot. You know, it's funny. We just talked about the beads falling and Martha being shot thing, and they couldn't help themselves. They at least had to throw the dream in there in this episode of different circumstances. Of course, it's like a burglar
Mhm.
breaking into their house and Martha gets shot, but it's like they couldn't help themselves. But no, I liked it a lot. I thought the last two were a good wrap up of
Mhm.
the first arc. You know, if I had to make a complaint, I would say that I think the last fight with Black Mask might have felt a little anticlimactic. Like it just, I don't know, the fact that he's just out on his boat and he's got like three people watching him that Bruce just basically dismantles easily. And then he just, kind of goes and takes out Black Mask in a really badass way that you mentioned, Chris, with
Mhm.
the horns through the head sort of thing from the cowl. And there was also a really awesome shot of him dropping down from the plane with the
Mhm.
lightning in the background. Looked like something out of the
Right.
animation.
Dark Knight
Buffalo.
Returns.
Yeah.
It was Dark Knight Returns cover all over again.
Yes.
But from a different angle where you can see the intimidating bottom of the boots.
Yeah. But no, I liked it a lot. I think I liked 5 a little more than 6 because I think that's where you really got to see like what Black Mask can do and the extent of his reach and his influence and how like,
I'd agree with
Bruce,
that.
yeah, like Bruce thinks he's got the one up on him. He takes the money. He doesn't take Black Mask's proposal, his deal. He makes this new bat symbol and he's like, gotcha. And then Black Mask is like, actually, I gotcha. And I'm going to break your arm and throw you off this building. and I'm gonna basically give guns to everybody in Gotham and send them after all these high profile targets. So I think I liked 5 a little more than 6, but I still liked 6 a lot, and the ending also gave us a hell of a lot of insight into what's coming up as well.
Oh, absolutely. And we're definitely going to get there. One of the things I wanted to highlight was the animal masks and them seeing is almost this virtual reality or augmented reality, and they can see the price of the targets and the price of the crime and which one gets you more. And I thought I like that because it's playing on human nature. It's almost like the Stanford prison experiment, whereas you put them in this role, you incentivize them to play along, and you see how easily they're going to give in, and which people are probably going to give in more. It's as from a psychology front, that's like gold in a comic book for me.
Yeah, 100%. Chris, what did you think of the issue?
Never mind. I'm so used to being the Chris.
Yeah,
go ahead, Chris.
I'll say Evans when I'm referring to. Yeah.
I really like this issue a lot. I think this issue was a solid finale. I don't think I see what you mean about the complaint with the boat sequence. My complaint isn't that; it's that I didn't realize that was Black Mask.
Yeah,
at first I was like, "Is this just another random guy with a bowl on his head?" Yep. I think because he doesn't have like a distinct costume other than the mask. Like, is this him? I also love the way he kicks the baby.
Yo, I was cracking up.
That is golden. But yeah, this is, I think, a really great finale. It ties up all the loose ends. It gets us where we need to be. It displays how tough this Bruce is. He has no quit in him. And also how resourceful he is. He has friends and he's not afraid to use them, which is very different than any Bruce we've seen. Every other Bruce we know would rather have his head cut off than call Robin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is with him. So I like this change too. And I think that's also because he grew up with them. You know, he has friends, whereas every other Bruce was a lonely kid in the tower, essentially. So I like that. The dream sequence I thought was great because I thought it was real when it was happening.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, what's happening? Maybe she survives the shot. I don't know. Yeah. But that was cool.
I had a very similar experience.
Yeah, and I really appreciated the fake out with are they going to kill her and Gordon? It reminded me in a way of Batman Begins at the end when all hell breaks loose at the Narrows and like Katie Holmes is trying to save that kid. I thought that was a nice parallel for me. That's what reminded me of that whole sequence. But, you know, and another thing that really grew on me with this particular issue, when it like kind of solidified it, I do like this art. At first I didn't, but it has grown on me issue after issue. And this one, when you see the ears go into the Black mask, I was like, we are here.
Yes.
This is good. This is very good.
Yeah.
And I also have a hard time splitting 5 and 6. To me, they are one. And I know that's kind of a weird thing to say for most comics, but I feel like they should have been one giant issue.
I agree with that.
I can't wait to read it collected.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. I think it would have felt a lot more balanced if they were both together. Shoot, there was something you said that I was going to go back to. All right, well, first of all, yeah,
penguins can fly now.
Who would have ever thought? Yeah, we'd see Oswald Cobblepot flying Batman's not getaway plane, but whatever you want to call it.
I don't know. His rescue copter.
Crazy. What'd you guys make of Alfred here and Alfred so far? You know, it seems like things are still pretty rough between him and Julie. Not Alfred. Yeah, Alfred. My bad. Yes. Things are pretty rough, it seems, still between him and Julia. You know, he kind of sends her away on the plane when she doesn't want to. Who knows if she really actually ended up leaving? You know,
as she says, if you take this plane up in the sky, you no longer have a daughter. And I was like, it was my reaction would have been, well, at least my daughter would be alive, so who cares? But
with Alfred.
I feel like every father would feel the same way.
yes and no. I do see where you're coming from, Chris, but I think it's, we get this trope a lot, and I feel like it happens with Gordon a lot too, obviously, with his daughter of like, oh, you're just my daughter. You can't be in the harm of, like, basically treating them like they're still little kids. That's like a classic kind of old guy trope, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like we're seeing that here. So I think it might, who knows what's going to happen there. But I think it feels a little tropey for me.
I liked it because I think that, again, we don't know this Julia, so we don't know if she's the capable version that we know. She could just be, this is just a average lady, average citizen in Gotham, and nobody wants to be in Gotham when the animals running wild with these masks and guns supplied to them. So I get Gordon's point
for sure,
because we don't know the Julia. Maybe later on she becomes the Julia we know, or maybe she already is and we just don't know.
Yeah,
so I think we know my favorite part with the Bat Ears through Black Mask. What was your favorite part of this issue? And before that, I'll give you another one because it's kind of a freebie for me. I like that they're talking with Waylon. What the other guys think, and he says, "Well, heck, Selena would think it's kind of hot." So
I love that.
That's another favorite moment for me. But what was your favorite moment, guys?
Chris, why don't you go first? Evans.
I knew that time.
My favorite part is the ears thing, because I've always thought when Batman has longer ears, why don't you use them for something? Do something with them. We saw him use them as like blades before. I was like, okay, that's kind of neat, I guess. But this just directly into them, that was awesome. So that's my favorite panel of the book. I think next to that, I really like that sleepover dream. I think it's kind of neat to show that, he would even dream that because that's probably something that happened aside from the attempted murder. But the sleepover stuff, I just like that. I like seeing this Bruce's background because it's such a refreshing take, And like you guys said, there's no pearls, so that's always good. I've seen enough.
I'm so tired of the pearls.
Yeah, we've seen them. So those would be my moments: the ears through the Black Mask and the sleepover minus the home invasion.
There was another part, I forget if it's in 5 or 6, but he like essentially gores one of them like onto, I think it is in 6 when he's fighting the ones on the boat and he has the spikes on his shoulders and he like essentially gores one into it. Like we're seeing a much more violent Bruce, like to your point, Chris. So that's very cool to see. But I think my favorite part, which is why I wanted you guys to go first, because I had a feeling this one would still be there, is the ending. Just because I'm so damn curious. We've gotten hints here and there that like the Joker might be involved in this. We don't know to what extent. Well, now we do know to what extent. He's the one pulling the strings completely behind Black Mask at this point. More importantly, though, his design while he's sitting there in that chair, he's got this, what the hell would you even call it? It was like a baby head. It was like a baby head and like almost what looked like symbiote tendrils like all around him, and it was red.
It reminded me like the Cenobites from Hellraiser or something.
Yeah, something like that.
It looked like that's what he was doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really, I don't know if it's like a recovery thing that he does or like if it's just like that's his form after some very grotesque new origin that we'll be seeing. I don't know, but that like alarm bells were going off in my head of like, all right, there's definitely a new take on Joker coming down the line. So that's got me really excited. And he mentions Bane too. So we know that he's got Black Mask on his payroll. He's got Bane on his payroll. Who else does he have on his payroll? That's going to be interesting to see in the coming months here.
And does he eat babies?
Does he? Does
he eat babies? I don't know.
Did you guys see in the brains.
Did you guys see Bane today?
Yes, the preview. Okay. Yes. I wish we had the picture to pop up, but he does look very cool. Kind of Schumacher vibes a little bit to it, but also like much bigger. Yeah, definitely
much bigger.
Much bigger.
Bane should always be gigantuan. Bane should always be larger than life. It's actually interesting with the Joker thing, though, with him orchestrating everything and having Bane on the payroll, because I'm a big Batman Nightfall fan, and Bane lets everybody out of Arkham and makes him go through the gauntlet. And it's almost like Joker's doing that now. So um, it's a very interesting story. And I was thinking also of Mr. Evans here because we know he doesn't like Joker takes.
So, you're gonna get me in trouble.
um, um, but
How long we should probably linger on that for a second. How long did you have to deal with backlash from that?
Well, I muted it. I had to because at 48 hours it was
Yeah,
still
you got
going
to.
strong, and I was like, man, this is a lot.
I felt so bad for you. I was like, he said something on the internet, guys. Chill.
Yeah, like apparently you are not allowed to like the way the Joker looks. You are only supposed to hate the way he looks.
Speaking of eating babies, you would have thought you said I love eating babies.
Something, yeah. For
For
context, for everybody out there, Chris, we got that. What was it? Like State Farm
The commercial.
ad with Batman and like this Joker, and then like the viral picture was going around of the Joker design, and all Chris said was like, "We don't need crazy takes. This is a great Joker look." And the internet was not very happy with that, to the tune of like, I don't even know how many thousand quote tweets. You did. I will say though, you did have a lot of likes and a lot of supporters.
I had the ratio. Yeah, I did have the ratio, but the personal attacks were just something else.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just like literally here for the comments. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Crazy.
It just kept getting worse.
Yes. It was like he's not paying attention to us because you played around with it for a little bit, and then it was like, we have to get him now.
Yeah, no.
At first I was in it like, okay, they're not really trolling. It just, what is what it is, and then it just got to something else. You are not allowed to have opinions. Keep that.
I just had to be a smarty aleck and say that there, but
I do like the Joker take. Just
while we're talking about takes, you know who really loved this issue? I bet you who's enjoying this issue? Kelly Jones with the ears in Black Mask.
Mm-hmm.
He was always the guy who would draw the longest ears, and he always said they were supposed to be intimidating and scary, and like they would be to the point where it was like, why would his ears be longer than his entire height? And it was.
I love the Kelly Jones Batman. Actually, the Mayfex Batman behind me, I keep the Kelly Jones head on him for that reason because I love it.
Yeah, it's a total aesthetic. But I'm just reading this comic thinking, he's smiling. He must have really loved that part.
Somebody finally did something with him. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, they were long enough.
Yeah.
Like in Red
Maybe
Rain,
they would get in the way.
I don't even know how he gets in the Batmobile in Red Rain.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are so tall.
That I remember reading Red Rain before you and Anthony hopped on for our Elseworlds draft, and I had similar thoughts with that. I thought that was just ridiculous. It almost took me out of it. It's like, how long could they be? They're not even ears at that point. They're like wings on top of his head.
They're antennas.
Yeah.
It's TV.
Another thing that just popped into my head though about this comic. So we see obviously that we mentioned Black Mask gives all the citizens these masks and these weapons, and basically it becomes like Purge Night in Gotham, only you're getting paid for it. And I think it really like shined a light on what the vibe sort of is right now amongst the people in this particular Gotham. Like there's in every Batman, there's always that sort of underlying sense of like, yeah, the people don't really have it so great out here. Like they're getting robbed. There's all these masked villains on the loose and all this stuff. But like the swiftness with which all these people just picked up these weapons and were like, you know what? Yeah, let's just go open season on all these politicians. Like this is a city of desperate people right now. And I'm very curious to see how that gets played going forward. Like the way that Black Mask was able to so easily manipulate them and like take advantage of people who just want any sign of like hope or any sign of positivity, and like to basically just kind of tell them what they want to hear. A lot of real world parallels there that we don't need to get into. But it's a very interesting sort of thing going on with the citizens of Gotham. And I really hope they continue to make that a part of things and continue to make the collective of Gotham a character in itself as well, like we saw in this issue.
I like seeing Gotham as a hellhole. I think that's kind of the point. That's why it needs a man dressed up as a bat. So I like seeing that. And this is another thing I feel like Arnold Snyder did this, but you watch The Dark Knight Rises and the way Bane can just easily manipulates Gotham into doing his thing. I feel like that's kind of similar here too. Then, like you mentioned, the Purge angle. There's a lot working here, and it's pretty much all good. And they do show the civil unrest early on, so the seeds were there, you know. Yeah. And in Gordon, I think mentions in like a throwaway line that Black Mass does this around the world, which I thought was even more interesting because we're used to the villains just being centralized in Gotham, and that may not be the case with this set.
Yeah. Yeah.
It worries me though, because the biggest part of the Joker is the Joker is Batman's, the Batman is the Joker's. And it's this reason for being almost. And I worry that you're going to lose some of the intensity of the Batman Joker dynamic, but the Joker being different could make it a whole new thing, and it could be kind of like Martha's Pearls, where it's like, okay, we don't need to see it again. So I'm very interested in what they do with the Joker, and I think that's a really good segue for the next topic of where the hell do they go from here?
Well, I think just piggybacking off your point, Chris, I think this is going to be a much different Joker, not who just obsesses specifically over Batman and lives, eats, breathes, and sleeps, making his life a living hell. This is what seems like a Joker that's essentially like a kingpin, not to steal a phrase from another show that we just covered, but like
when he was a boy.
Yeah. But he's got Black Mask working for him. He's got Bane as a henchman. Like, he seems to have a shit ton of money because he's able to set up all these like prisons and things, like the things that Black Mask was carrying out. And it's highly likely that he's got these kind of things going on all over the world. So it seems like there's going to be almost like, let me think about it, almost kind of like what the Maker's role is in the Ultimate Universe right now. He's just the central like linchpin villain that all of these other sort of villain tentacles like spur off from in their own ways. I'm curious to see if that spills over into like Absolute Wonder Woman or Absolute Superman. I'm not reading those at the moment, so if you guys are, you'll have to let me know. But yeah, I think this is going to be a much more bigger picture focused Joker, one whose plans aren't just burn Gotham to the ground and make Batman's life a living hell. So I think that's where we're going next. I do think there is going to be a lot of that, though, Chris. I think Batman's going to be enough of a thorn in his side that he's going to realize that he's going to have to deal with him himself. And I think there is going to be a lot of that classic Joker sort of psychological thing going on there. Maybe Joker tries to infiltrate that friend group and convert some of those characters that we know as villains classically, maybe gets them to like, give him some dirt on Bruce and things like that. I think we are going to see a Joker that is still focused on the chaos and the carnage and all that stuff, but doing so in a much more organized way that we're not used to.
And Chris, when you did the Kingpin when I was a boy, I was like, you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, we can see that too. Well, you want to know how I got the baby suit?
That's what I was thinking.
My theory on the Joker is kind of like what Ron was saying, but so this is my thought process, and I could be completely off, and maybe this is too out of left field. The League of Assassins was mentioned. I think the Joker is the Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, I like that
we
idea.
Don't have Ra's, we have the Joker. His Lazarus pit or the baby thing, whatever the hell that is. Because if
That
you look at
makes
the image
sense.
that we have of him, well, the two, because we saw him in the first issue. First issue, he's just a normal looking dude. In this one, in the first part of the panel, he has the green hair, he's got the white skin, he looks weird. But then in that second part of the panel, when you see his hand, the color is changing. It's almost like the fetus suit. I don't know what to call that thing. It's
Fetus
healing
suit.
him. The thing with the babies and the heads, the voodoo thing, whatever. It looks like it could be healing him. So
It's
I'm
actually
wondering,
Absolute Harley.
you know what? Maybe it's red. So that's his pudding. But yeah, that's kind of my high level theory. He is Ra's al Ghul, and that's why he has these people at his disposal. I don't think Freeze is his guy, but Bane is, of course. But I think that could be what we're looking at, because he was mentioned as the League, and Alfred was tracking him down too. So the Joker is definitely a global threat this time around.
Yeah.
That's
but
an
like,
interesting take.
but you made a good point, Chris. Like, because half of most of their thing is they have to be together, Batman and the Joker. So I do wonder how they're going to reconcile that. Like, what could this one man do to essentially bring down a global terrorist? I'm curious.
Yeah, I just think some of it could fall flat because it's almost like I'd almost rather not have the Joker if I'm not going to have the Joker. You know what I mean? I'd almost rather it be like a Lex Luthor or something. If you're gonna do it that way, because that can cross over in my eyes. But I don't know. I think that this is going to be interesting, and I really like your Lazarus Pit idea of the changing of the skin. That's really interesting. I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah. You also, Chris, you also mentioned the Mr. Freeze, and I don't think that this image was out yet when you and I first spoke, Chris, but like, what the hell is going on here? And I say that in a positive light. Again, I don't know how well it'll show up. He's basically like a Wendigo. Like, he's just this this super long-limbed, like, I don't even know what the hell you'd call him, but I think it looks so cool, and I'm so curious to see what happens with that. I almost honestly, and it's the next issue, so we're gonna find out pretty quick what's going on with Freeze. I almost wouldn't mind if after this we got some more Joker setup stuff in the background, but give us a few sort of villain of the week type issues. Give us some things that allow us to live in Gotham a little more, to see how other sides of Gotham outside of this whole central party animals conflict is working right now. Like, yeah, show us what Freeze is up to. Show us what, like a Harley is up to. Like, yeah, start to fill out this world a little bit more. So as much as I'm excited to see where the whole central plot is going with Joker and everything like that, I'm not at the point yet where I'm in a rush to get there. So just keep building this world up around it, because it's been a pretty damn awesome world so far.
It's been a nice ride, And also, we're going to Arkham, so I think that's going to be fun. And the way Arkham sounds, it's not Arkham Asylum; it's something else.
Yeah.
So that's something else. That sounds cool to me. I'm wondering what other villains we'll see pop up, because I do want a villain of the month or whatever. Like, I want to see what the Scarecrow looks like in this world.
Yeah, Clayface,
or Mad Hatter, or even Harley. What is Harley doing these days?
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I guess it really all kind of depends on how long they're planning on taking these runs with the way that they're selling. I'm going to guess that even if they did have, if in their head they were saying, yeah, we'll run this for 2 years. I'm going to guess when they look at the sales now, they're like, you know what? Let's not really put a hard end date on this thing, and let's just see how long we can ride it till the wheels fall off. So while we've got some time and we can, take a breath a little bit in terms of the main central story, just show us a little more about what's going on around everything we've been seeing through the first 6.
My question, building off of this conversation, is what is not working for you in these issues? I know Chris is gushing over this, so it's probably not much for him. Is there anything that's not working for you in these issues that is kind of throwing you off?
Chris, is there anything at all for you?
I other than the design, I really can't stand like the spikes on the shoulder. I do like the Bat Axe. I've come around on the functionality of the suit. But I don't think I'm ever going to love this design. Everything else works. I yeah, I thought it was an interesting question. I think we're all in the line of, hey, this is pretty good though.
Well, Evans, what about you?
The pacing could have been better. I think that maybe we didn't need 6 full issues, but I don't know if that really counts as a problem with it. But I think they could have condensed this into 4 or 5.
Mm.
Because it feels like, especially, I think it was 3. Nothing happens in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to the origin, which was cool.
Yeah, not much. Yeah, 3 was kind of just kind of their issue. For me, I don't really think I have any major complaints. Like the only like disparaging thing, which isn't even really disparaging, was just that I thought the last fight was a little anticlimactic, and even Chris, to your point, confusing, because it was like, oh shit, that's Black Mask. Like your first vibe was like, oh, it's just another random party animal jumping off, and it's not, it's him. So like little things here and there, like maybe like is the art in some spots a little busy, to where it's like kind of an assault on the eyes. Yeah, but the full page shots and all that are great. And even the art that I would change isn't enough to like take me out of it or anything like that. I've seen far worse this week alone. So it's not horrible by any means, but yeah, just little nitpicks here and there. The excitement outweighs any detriment that I could mention 100-fold. So
I think so many of the character choices are interesting. Like just to have Croc, like Waylon Jones, be part of like the friend group, and he's like, I'm Waylon Croc Jones. It's like that is very interesting. There's a lot of like, okay, what happens in between here that I'm looking forward to. I would be really regretful if they weren't setting stuff up, but they are, and so that's pretty cool.
One of the friends that got a turn. They can't all stay good in this world.
Yeah,
Riddler's halfway in already. He's got the Riddler thing. So
that's what oh God, I'm so excited to see what they do with that. I mentioned it when our first Absolute Batman episode, when me and Chris were reviewing the first 4. That was the one that I was like, dude, this AI Riddler thing, like perfect encapsulation of like, real world things, and like incorporating those fears into a character and the villain. Like, such a cool take. There is not a single villain adaptation so far in this comic that I have not loved. Like loved. And I think that's going to continue when we see whatever Wendigo Freeze is up to next month.
I think I want more Bruce and Selena.
I'm waiting for that too.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're setting it up too.
She hasn't been around.
So I'm curious about that, and I want to see more of that.
I want to see more Harvey.
Yeah.
Curious what this Harvey's doing, because they already mentioned he wants to arrest him, possibly.
Well, he lost the election to Hill as well, to Mayor Hill. They mentioned that in here too. So, yeah, we're probably going to start to see Two-Face, not just Harvey, but Two-Face, like probably come into the equation before too long here, I would say.
That makes me happy.
Yes, that this is a very pro Two-Face panel.
More Two-Face.
In fact, there are Two-Faces that are really happy about Two-Face.
Yeah. I like him too. I took him in our Batman villain draft. He won me the draft.
No, congratulations. I still don't know how I didn't win that thing. I'm like, my team is stacked. But I feel like that way every time. So,
Chris, you're the host. You're the host of the episode.
I know. I had a mental freeze there. I think we covered everything. Is there anything that you guys haven't dived into? That you have any comments, questions, or concerns?
No, got all of my notes have been gone through here.
Yeah.
I'm just excited for more. I really cannot wait to see more of this world.
Yes. And we will be back here next month again discussing. This is going to be sort of a regular thing going forward. The three of us here hanging out, just talking this comic. So that's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're really excited to have you as one of the team, kind of officially now, Evans.
Yeah, it's
This
gonna be
is this is absolute soups and sabers with the E and the absolute as a 3.
fun. No, I like that. Okay.
Uh,
We're getting
it's,
clever.
We'll
just
workshop
cheesy.
it. We'll workshop it. It's
Yeah.
okay.
It's just
we got a
cheesy
month.
enough. It's just cheesy enough.
Well, that way it's also like a unique take too. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
We know you like. We know how you're not a big fan of those.
I do not like takes at all. Apparently.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna become his own villain. He's gonna be the Taker.
Yes. I don't like takes, especially on the Joker.
No takes. He's gonna take all the takes away. He's gonna put them in a little sack. I guess he's the Grinch now for takes.
I kind of like that idea. I like the Grinch, so I can work with that.
Yeah, cool. Green is a good color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
make it work.
Maybe. Yeah. Sure. It's better than Condiment King.
Is it though?
And with that, we're gonna end it here. Thank you for listening to Soups and Sabers. You can check us out at Soups and Sabers on all of our socials. We have Andor season 2 coming up after we do our Daredevil coverage. There's a lot going on. I know Ron and Jordan are doing the Ultimate universe. So if you're like, I want the Marvel version of this, you got that over there. So Soups and Sabers is on it, and we appreciate your listening.